Hello, good morning. Welcome to another edition of National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. Today we're running in Delhi and we're coming to you live from our Mumbai studios. I have two very special guests with me. First up, I have Tamra Zweck, who's a director and sports physiotherapist at 206 Optimal Movement. She's also the medical director of the IPL and the ex-physiotherapist for the New Zealand cricket team. Good morning, Tamra. Thank you for being here. And I also have Ambareesh Baliga, who's a managing partner, Global Wealth Management at Edelweiss Financial Services. You've seen Ambareesh very often on our channel giving his pearls of wisdom, telling us where to put our money correctly for the best of it. Thank you so much, Ambareesh, for being here this morning. All right, so we're running today, this morning in New Delhi. We've in fact flagged off our first run, which is the 4-kilometer Nifty run. The 4-kilometer Nifty run is the one with timing chips, so you get to monitor your performance. The second run is just about to be flagged off. I think this is the 4-kilometer power run. And then the third run will be the 2-kilometer bull run. Three awesome runs early in the morning. It's 12 degrees in Delhi, cold but good to run because you don't sweat it out. It's comfortable running weather. Okay, Tamra, first question to you. The importance, so it's cold also, and there might be new beginners, first-time runners. Your advice to what's the importance of stretching and what are some of the stretches that they should do before they run? Yeah, before they run, it's really important to prepare your body for the exercise that you're going to be doing. So especially when it's a little bit cold, you need to get your circulation running through your body. You also need to warm up your joints so that they're prepared to take the load for when you're running, and also to make sure that your muscles are prepared to propel you forward. So warming up is really important. We use a technique, what we call dynamic stretching, where you're moving through your joints rather than holding the stretch for too long, and then you can really push through and then help your muscles to keep going. Okay, that's interesting. So guys, we caught up with Tamra earlier this week and she showed us, so like they say that a picture speaks 1,000 words, we got a video. So we got some of her colleagues to help us and show us some of the important stretches. So let's take a look at that right now. These are some stretches that you can do before you start running. The first thing that you can do is a leg swing. So simply swinging your leg forwards and backwards, about 20 to 30 times on each side. Another good stretch to do is a high knee lift. So you want to get your knees and your feet lifting up off the ground. So lift one knee and then the other knee up alternately. Okay. Again, you can do about 20 or 30 on each side. One other thing that you can do when you're warming up is also a side bend. So simply just raise one arm up to the sky, reach up and take a big breath in, and as you breathe out, reach over to the side as much as you feel comfortable, and then come back up to neutral. All right, so those were some important stretches. Thank you so much for that, Tamra. Ambareesh, let's come to you. So Tamra's told us how do you need to prepare before you're running an Investothon. Your advice on how to prepare to invest correctly?
Absolutely, because you need to prepare. I mean, just like a marathon, you can't wake up one day and say that I'll run a marathon. Similarly, I don't think you can really wake up and say that I'll start investing long term. You need to have your objectives very clear. You need to have regular reviews. So these are the sort of preparation which you need to do before you really start investing. Okay,
so you mentioned regular reviews. Right. Now, that's a really, I mean, people get confused. What is regular review? Is it every day? Is it every week, every month, every year?
That depends on the person concerned, his objectives. If his objectives are long term, generally you have a review at least once in a month or once in 3 months, depending on your churn in your portfolio.
Okay.
I mean, if you're a trader, you have to review every day. So that's the difference.
Okay. So, well, I get the important point is that if you're in it for the long term, what about long term? Because we want to talk long term investing for the full life.
When we say long term, generally it's meant anywhere between 3 to 5 years. And for some people, long term could be 1 year. So again, investment is very, very personal. I mean, it completely depends on the objectives of the person, and based on that, you decide what is long term, what is short term. For a trader, short term could be intraday, 2 could be a week, for all you know.
So it depends on that. Okay. So Tamra, I want to talk to you similarly about reviewing your performance in your fitness. So I guess today we've got people running there, but people do different forms of fitness also. They might be going to the gym, they might cycle, swim, Zumba. I mean, in fact, on ground we've got Talwarkars who's doing a Zumba warm up and cool down for our runners here this morning. But what is the importance of reviewing one's fitness levels also, and how often?
Yeah, so like Ambareesh said, with investing, you also need to set goals and have timelines in relation to your health as well. It's always good to have a goal so that you've got something to aim for. It'll also keep you motivated, and sometimes when you're within a group of people or a team, then that will also help to keep you motivated along how you go. So yeah, you need to set small goals. It's always a good idea to pace yourself. You don't want to go out and do too much too soon. You need to make sure, you know, that you can cope with, your body can cope with the loads that you're putting it through. Don't expect that you can go out and run 30 minutes, you know, straight away. You might need to start off with generally walking first, and then maybe doing some interval running in between that, and then making your interval runs a little bit longer, making your walks a little bit shorter, and before you know it, you'll be running pretty consistently.
Okay, and what about the importance of getting a variety? So I might get just bored of running every day, or might just get bored of going to the gym. How do you advise getting in some variety?
Absolutely, for sure. You know, if you're running and that's your main goal, for example, if you're training for a marathon, it's also really important to do some other forms of exercise. Maybe yoga will help your general flexibility in your recovery and getting ready for the next run that you do. Also, going to the gym and doing some general strength training is really important. What we also recommend is when you start doing some kind of exercise, it's good to have a review with your sports medicine professional, like a physiotherapist. They can also see if you've got any imbalances going on with your body, and then you can work in the gym or with your yoga instructor, or even doing some Pilates to help to rectify those imbalances. And then you know that you're going to be right on track and you can stick to your program and you're not going to get injured or anything like that.
Okay. Ambareesh, I want to talk to you about variety in an investment portfolio, which we call asset allocation, which is termed asset allocation. So for a layman viewer who might not know what asset allocation is, what exactly is it and how important is it?
Basically, like the way you say, you can't put all your eggs in the same basket. So similarly, there has to be asset allocation. You have to divide your financial assets across various verticals. It could be real estate, equities, it could be debt, it could be gold. But the percentage depends on the person concerned, what his objectives are again.
Okay, so person to person, depending a lot on the objectives. Look, Tam, I want to ask you one thing, since you are a physiotherapist, and maybe this is my view, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people have started getting a lot of fitness related injuries because of either, you know, like earlier we were talking about getting in full force without regulating themselves, or maybe not doing things correctly or pushing themselves over the limit. Are you seeing a lot of that?
Yes, well, being in the nature of the business that I am, usually when I see people is when they do have some kind of injury. So we feel like we see a lot of injuries, but I would say that for every person that comes in with an injury or a condition, there would be at least another 100 people out there who have no issues at all, which is really positive. The main conditions that we would see are what we call overuse injuries, is when people do go out too hard too soon. So, you know, classic New Year's resolution is, yes, I'm going to get really fit, I'm going to go out, I'm going to run for 30 minutes every single day for the first week, and the next week they'll turn up to the clinic with a hamstring pull or a catch in their back or something like that, which could have been prevented had they paced themselves. And also probably could have been prevented if they'd sort of warmed up and prepared themselves accordingly.
So there are some steps that they need to, some preventive steps that they need to take before to invest correctly. So again, Ambareesh, let's synchronize our health and wealth goals. What are some preventive steps that I should take when I'm going into invest? So this could be investing in any asset class, but what are some basic rules that to keep in mind?
First of all, you need to understand what you're investing into. I don't think you should be just getting into a particular asset class just because someone else has told you to get into it, just because someone else is making money in that. It has to, again, coming back to the objectives, it has to fit into your objectives. And once you have understood that asset class, you need to understand as to what you're investing in. For example, if it's equity, you need to understand the stock in which you have invested. To a certain extent, you can't be an expert in that because you have experts to advise you, otherwise we'll be out of the job. So you just need to know as to where you have invested, so that you can keep at least some tab on that and understand as to what your advisors are telling you.
Okay, so that's really important. Well, you're watching National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. We're coming live to you from New Delhi. As you can see on your screen, these are some enthusiastic and excited runners on ground in New Delhi. We have 3 runs this morning, and all 3 have been flagged off: the 4-kilometer Nifty run, the 4-kilometer power run, and the 2-kilometer bull run. So you can see excited, enthusiastic runners. That's our starting point. And as you can see, those are our panel of chief guests there this morning, and they flagged off all the 3 runs. So we'll be going on ground very shortly, and we'll hear from all of them also. Tamara, you know, we saw them run off. I mean, the first runners just start off, and everybody starts off charging, you know. And I mean, it's not just one run, it's just with the fitness goal also. So like you said, New Year resolution, so January and maybe February people will be steaming through, going regularly to gym, and then you lose steam. How do you prevent that, and why is it not a good thing to like just charge off first off and then don't slow down?
Yeah, because you want to be consistent. You want to make sure that your health and your program and your goals are kept in line. You know, you need to have a look at your own personal lifestyle. Everybody leads really hectic lifestyles these days. So you need to make sure that you've got time, or you can make time to do little things. And sometimes you don't need to do big things all at once. You can just start off with a little bit. Maybe if you just start with a walk 30 minutes a day and you end up using the stairs a little bit more often at work, that's a small goal which can actually help you achieve your bigger goals as well. So it's good to keep it realistic, okay? It's also nice to be working out with a friend, okay, or a partner or someone in your family. Then you've always got someone who's always checking up on you, and they can help to motivate you as well. So that's a nice sort of thing to help to keep you going. It's not a nice thing to do on your own.
It's more fun in a group or with someone.
Absolutely.
So it's better than doing it just alone.
Sure.
Ambareesh, I want to talk to you. So you were talking about asset allocation earlier.
Right.
Now there is I meet people, and very often, I'm sure you must be hearing this more than I do, is people talk and they say that, why should I look at different asset classes? Why should I get into equity? Because generally people do believe equity is very volatile. Why not just park all my money in that fixed deposit in my bank and just leave everything there? It's earning interest on its own.
Your fixed deposit, gives you about maximum 9.5%, whereas you know your inflation is more than that.
Yeah.
So end of the day, you're just destroying wealth. I mean, if you're going to be keeping your money in fixed deposit for the next 10 years, the value of that fixed deposit, even post-interest and tax, will be lower than the value at that point of time. The inflation will be much higher. So it's always better to invest across various asset classes, which will possibly give you, at least a better return. You require fixed deposits, no doubt, but that can't be like your complete investment portfolio. So you need to invest across equities, you need to invest across gold, real estate, and others, which will give you a much better return.
So basically spread your portfolio and go into different asset classes as well. Okay, let's go on ground in New Delhi. We have Shruti Mishra there with a guest. Over to you, Shruti.
Hi Sumit, I have with me Mr. Amitabh Khan, CEO and MD, DMICDC. So, you know, you're the man behind the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, and that's a gigantic task. It's by no means a sprint, it's a marathon. Yeah. So, you know, who better than you to comment on how to be in the long race, develop the kind of stamina that you and your team have developed. So, share some comments.
I think it's a wonderful initiative. It's a fabulous initiative. I've never seen so much of enthusiasm, so much of passion, so much of energy in the runners, and there's so many of them. I didn't know that you will have so many people. I mean, it's such a huge crowd, and to see so many young people, so many young girls, and so many young people running, it's the NSE is going to just boom simply because you have so many runners here. So it's a lovely initiative, and I really compliment CNBC TV 18 and NSE for this initiative, because I think this is going to give a huge amount of energy for people to just sustain themselves. And what you need in India today is just long-term sustenance. You need energy, you need dynamism, you need a huge amount of passion to just continue running and be in the race. And those who continue in the race over a long period will emerge as the winner.
All right, your comments on, running for wealth and for health, your comments on that.
Well, ultimately, what the country needs is truly wealth creation. It needs growth. It needs jobs, because India is a very young country. You have such a huge population. India must reap its demographic dividends, and therefore, young people, they must understand that in India, it's all going to be about good health. It's all going to be about running. It's all going to be about being physically fit over a long period of time. And it's this kind of vibrancy, this kind of energy which is generated here will in the long run sustain India's wealth generation. And over a period of time, only when India creates wealth will it be able to create jobs for its very young people, especially all these young people who are running here today. So it's a wonderful initiative.
All right, sir, before I let you go, my final question, can you share with us your fitness regime?
Well, I do go to the gym 3 days a week, and I play golf. So after this I'm heading for golf to play over the weekends I play golf, because it takes a long time, but on other days I go to the gym, and twice a week I try and do 3 rounds of Lodi Road.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Well, Sumit, you heard that 3 rounds of Lodi Road is Mr. Amitabh. Lodi Garden is Mr. Amitabh Khan's fitness mantra. Over to you.
Thank you for that, Shruti, and thank you, Mr. Amitabh Kant. Well, you can see how fit he is. He does this regularly. He's regularly doing his fitness training and playing a good round of golf over the weekend. Keeps it interesting. All right, now I'd just like to take you through the route map that our runners are running on this morning in New Delhi. We're flagging off from the Tyagraj Sports Complex in New Delhi. They'll be going down towards Najaf Khan Road and taking a turn at Aurobindo Marg and getting back to the stadium. That's the 4-kilometer Nifty and the 4-kilometer power run, and the 2-kilometer bull run is a little shorter distance, which goes a little bit up to the Najaf Khan Road and back. You're watching National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. We're coming to you from New Delhi. It's time for a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Archana Vijaya, and I'd like to wish all the runners at NSE Investothon all the very best. You know all about investments and returns. So go out there, put in your best foot forward, and I'm sure you'll come out right on top. Go out there, do a nice workout that suits your body. I personally am doing the Insanity workout right now, and just as the name suggests, I'm literally crawling out of the gym. So my muscles, yes, are surprised, excited. And apart from that, I also do circuit training, functional training, a bit of yoga to calm my mind and to get my chakras in order. And other than that, I think the best thing for fitness is to keep a smile on your face and be happy, and everything will fall into place.
Well, welcome back. You're watching National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. That was TV anchor, host and actress Archana Vijaya telling us her fitness mantra. Let's go on ground to New Delhi. We've got Shruti Mishra there with a guest. Over to you, Shruti.
Thank you, Sumit. I have with me Mr. Amit Goel, Director, Pace Stock Broking Services, and Mr. Shiv Kumar Goel, Director, Bonanza Portfolio. Welcome, gentlemen. Your thoughts on running for wealth and for health?
Well, I think it's a great idea. It's a great initiative by NSE and CNBC. And running is not just good for health, but it also kind of helps put your mind in the right perspective, helps you to think straight and clear. And that is exactly what long-term investing is also about. So I see a great synergy between running and long-term investing.
All right, your comments on Investothon 2014.
It is very important, and it will help the investor to understand it is very important to take care of their wealth also in the same manner as the health. Because as we have to take care on daily basis and take long-term measures, we have to invest in our wealth protection and wealth creation in the same manner, and we have to take a long-term perspective while investing, and those people can create good wealth. And equity market is a very positive market where there is a lot of opportunities to create wealth. There is a lot of opportunity here.
All right, it was a cold, foggy morning in Delhi today. Was it difficult getting up?
Yes, it was difficult getting up, but I guess when the cause is so important, I guess you have to. And the sheer response is absolutely amazing. I see thousands of people running here, and none of them look sleepy. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of buzz in the air, and I guess the event is a huge success.
You heard that, Sumit. Cause is more important. That's the Delhi spirit. Over to you.
Very true, Shruti, and of course it's an important cause that we are all here for this morning, to create awareness about how you can take care of your health, take care of your fitness, and how you can take care of your money and your financial wealth. This is the National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon that you're catching live from New Delhi. In case you have friends that don't have access to a television, they can log on to our website, which is www.investothon.net, to catch the live streaming of the event and also regular updates on which city we are headed to next. I'm joined by two very special guests this morning. We have Tamra Zweck, who's the director and sports physiotherapist at 206 Optimum Movement, and we have Ambareesh Baliga, who's the managing partner, Global Wealth Management at Edelweiss Financial Services. Ambareesh, I want to talk to you about equities. So we spoke about asset allocation and importance of equities, but for a layman investor, for someone who's not aware of equities, what's a good way to get exposed to equities?
Good way to start would be mutual funds, because it is all managed by experts and there's a track record. So when you invest in mutual funds, I think you should clearly look at the fund house track record as well as the fund manager specifically. And this is all available in the public domain. So one needs to study that before investing in mutual funds, but I think that's the best way to start off with, instead of investing directly into equities.
And there's something in mutual funds called the SIP that people, this systematic investment plan. So what's that about, and how's that been?
So I mean, that is something where you can keep investing a given figure every month in a specific plan or a couple of plans, so that it gets averaged out. So you're not really timing the markets, but you're averaging out your investments and also exit. You can do a SIP for exit also.
Okay, yeah, that's really important, because everybody talks about this entry, but the exit is also very important. Okay, Tamra, so you're the medical director with the Indian Premier League, the IPL, and also you're the ex-physiotherapist with the New Zealand cricket team. And as you know, India is a cricket-crazy country. We love our cricket. So tell us something about, give us the insights, the backstage gossip on how cricketers stay fit. What can we learn from them?
Well, they definitely do stay fit for sure. Probably the biggest thing that we can learn from watching our cricketers is discipline and creating good habits for themselves. You know, it helps as a professional athlete that you're highly talented at what you do. You know, but cricketers these days, the likes of Brenda McCullum, who we've just seen now, and Ross Taylor, they're not just highly talented, but they're very athletic as well, and they really need to stay on top of their game and to help to sort of get that edge over their opponent for sure. So they always do a range of activities. Training is not just about doing the same thing every day, like we talked about before. It's about varying your program, and when it comes to game day, you have to peak at game day. So it's all about sort of preparing yourself, you know, accordingly, so that you can peak at the right time. Then also it's about recovery and making sure that you can recover quickly and at your best, so that you prepare yourself for your next game. Because we all know that the cricket season, well, there's no season anymore actually. It's just continuously throughout the year, and athletes really have to manage that for sure.
So it's not just about who can run the fastest between the two wickets.
Absolutely not.
All right, let's go on ground to Shruti Mishra. She's got a guest with her over there. Shruti, over to you.
Yes, Sumit, I have with me Basab Mitra, CEO, Religare Securities, and Mr. Mukesh Kansal, CMD, Trust Line Securities. All right, sir, tell us, what are the small steps that one should take in order to take care of one's health?
Well, I think it's first important to recognize that before wealth, you should take care of your health. So I think it's a step in the right direction. So I appreciate the work that NSE and CNBC is doing. So I think, you know, it's taking time out for yourself, and I think that is an important thing, a difficult thing in today's day and age. But you need to take time out for yourself, make sure that you have a regimen that you can follow. Well, I think the most important thing is to recognize internally that you come first and before wealth. And as long as you can take care of yourself, you're able to make wealth. So I think, you know, make sure you have a regimen, make sure you have a process, and you follow the process diligently.
All right, your comments on how health and wealth are both interrelated.
It's a very old saying that health is wealth. And what I believe is that as good to maintain your health, personal health, as good to maintain the wealth, health also.
Correct.
So that's what I prefer, and it's very, very important in these days that you should be very fit enough to work for the whole day, and then try to maintain and balance the wealth of yours and the other people, investors.
All right, Sumit, you got that. Maintain your health before you maintain your wealth. Over to you.
Truly, because after all, health is really wealth, and that's what we're trying to talk about here at the National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. Ambareesh, earlier you were talking about inflation.
Yeah.
And now, for the layman investor again, what is inflation? Because you read these numbers in the papers, on the channel, there's WPI, CPI, inflation is this, that, a lot of confusion.
Right.
Help us sift through this.
Inflation in pure simple terms is the increase in price of goods over the last year. So when you say the inflation is 9%, that means the price of those goods have gone up from 100 to 109.
Okay.
When you say food inflation, then price of vegetables was say 100 rupees last year, is become 109 this year. So it actually destroys your buying power, it destroys your wealth. So when you talk of investment, you always try and beat inflation so that you have more money in hand next year to buy more goods as compared to last year.
Okay, so and how should we go about, what are some of the tricks of kind of maybe beating inflation or at least matching it?
Like the tricks is quite simple. You need to invest in those specific assets which will give you a better return as compared to inflation. Say for example, you are investing in an asset which possibly gives you that 12-13% sort of a return.
Yes.
Again, it has to be risk adjusted because you can't take too much of a risk and lose your capital. You can get returns of about 24% also, but there the risk is much higher. You could lose your capital. So risk adjusted return is extremely important. Say you're getting a decent risk-adjusted return at about 12-13% and the inflation is 9%, which actually leaves you with 3 or 4% extra wealth as compared to last year.
Okay, all right. Tam, I want to talk to you about the lifestyle that we lead today. So everybody's leading even more and more hectic lifestyles. We don't have that much time for anything. We're just running pillar to post, either earning money or just busy in life. How do you advise people to slow it down sometimes? Because I'm sure people, when they come to you with unfortunate injuries, you have to advise them to just take a chill pill, as they say, and calm down a little. What's your advice? What's the mantra?
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to take time out for yourself, and whether you choose to do an hour a week or whether you choose to do 10 minutes a day, it's always really important to have that time to yourself. Like we spoke about before, it doesn't need to be too much. You can do a few simple stretches in the morning, which will help to keep your posture at work. That's enough to get you going to begin with, and then then you can build on that as you create better habits, for sure.
Right.
And yeah.
So going level to level, not just deciding to go from level 1 to level 10 straight away, going level 1, 2, 3 and rising up that.
Absolutely. And talking about levels, it's good to make sure that when you've got kids and you've got children around, it's good to install really good habits for them when they're growing up. When kids are growing up, they can do things, they're fearless, they can try anything, and it's really important to give them the opportunity to run around and explore their bodies and explore movement, because that then sets their bodies up really well for later on in life. I sort of look back to my childhood in Australia, and we played a lot of sport, and it's given me a strong, fit body. So even at my age now, if I wanted to go out and start training for the marathon, which I'm considering, then then I feel that my body is pretty prepared for it. Whereas if I hadn't had that sort of education and that opportunity when I was younger, my body would probably feel a little bit more vulnerable to do so.
Okay, that's an important point, which is very true. Okay, let's go back on ground to Shruti Mishra. She's got a guest with her. Over to you, Shruti.
Sumit, I've got with me Mr. Subhash Agarwal. He's the Chairman and Managing Director of SMC Group. Sir, tell us your thoughts about this initiative, Investothon.
Yeah, it is a great initiative taken by CNBC and NSC. It had started since March 11. And I think this is the 4th year. So this race recognizes the investors' health and wealth, you can say, and it is a great initiative. And today I think more than 5,000 persons are here to run the show. Yeah, it's a great initiative.
Your fitness regime, sir?
Sir, I do yoga every day, and this is a great idea that one should run in the morning. It is wonderful, and since NSU and CNBC has taken this initiative, and throughout Delhi, we are discussing this, and our great number of staff are here. So it is a wonderful idea.
All right.
Yeah, congratulations to CNBC and NSE both.
Thank you. Yoga and power run seems to be the key. Sumit, over to you.
Thank you very much for that, Shruti. Yes, yoga and power run and a mix and match of everything, which is really important, like we were talking earlier. Ambareesh, so Tamara told us about, it's good to instill these healthy fitness habits from childhood. Similarly, it's good to instill healthy investment habits from an early age. But
absolutely.
When is there like too early an age to get into this?
There is no too early an age, but you can start investing on your own only when you're 18.
Right.
So I suppose that's the time you should start off. If you, surely you'll not have earnings, but I think you should take some money from your parents and at least start dabbling in investment, so that at least you earn, learn the ropes of investment. And once you start earning, I think that's the time to really look at long-term investments.
So the first few years of your earnings, when again usually you have fewer responsibilities.
You don't have too many expenses. You can actually save for the future.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's the time to really start.
Those are the magic years, you could say. There's this ratio that people always talk about, that 100 minus your age should be in equity. Do you believe in that?
I don't believe in that, because I've seen so many people. I'll tell you, I have seen 70, 80-year-olds actually investing a lot in equities because they understand equity markets well. So, I don't think you can really use that ratio. Whereas someone maybe 30 years old may not have any knack for equities. So, I don't think he should be investing like 70% in equities. He should be investing possibly 10-15% if he doesn't really understand that very well.
Okay, that's really true. Tamara, what's the importance when we're stretching also? And so here's the thing, I'll tell you what happens is whenever you're when you have a trainer, or just generally, you're always trying to push the limit. But there is this fine line between pushing the limit and going overboard. How do you manage that trick? What's the trick on that?
Yeah. Pacing yourself is a good thing, and also just setting small goals as you go along. Also making sure that you discuss with your trainer, this isn't feeling quite so right today, maybe we need to do a little bit more preparation work of a particular activity or a particular exercise like a squat. You may break that movement down and you may start doing smaller things to help you build up the capability and the actual strength and the control and the balance to be able to do a good squat or a good lunge or to do a good run. So let's make sure that you have a good discussion with your trainer. It's always good to have a sports medicine professional around, like a good physiotherapist, and then you can always refer to them, because they can really pull apart your body and make sure that that you're not predisposed to any kind of injury. So that's probably a good thing to do.
So just prevention is better than cure, kind of
Absolutely,
thing,
right? Prepare yourself for sure.
Prepare yourself for sure. You're watching National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. We're coming to you live from New Delhi. You can see excited runners. Some of them have already finished their runs. Let's go on ground to Shruti Mishra. She's got a guest with her.
All right, Sumit. We have with me Subhrangshu Niyogi, Director and Head Brand and Corporate Communication, Relige Enterprises. Subhrangshu, tell us your comments on running for wealth and health.
I think it's fantastic. Running always, be it for wealth, health or anything else, running always is great. It's been a great experience here, and kudos to you guys, NSE and all the other organizers.
All right, you ran the 2-kilometer bull run today. Share with us your experience.
It was great. I think it was exciting, and I think more than endurance, I think what matters is the spirit. Happy to see that people across age groups, across cutting across levels of organizations ran here as one team. Exciting enough.
All right, exciting enough. Delhi investors have truly shown their spirit despite this cold weather. Over to you, Sumit.
Thank you for that, Shruti. And as you can see on ground, there are excited lot of people. We've got more than 2,500 people there this morning with us. And can you see, most of them have finished their runs. We've had 3 runs, the 4-kilometer Nifty run, the 4-kilometer power run, and the 2-kilometer bull run. You can see most of them have finished off their runs, and they've come back to the holding area. We'll go on ground. There'll be a prize distribution ceremony there. We'll go on ground for that in a short while. Ambareesh, I want to talk to you about the importance of having a financial advisor, a financial planner. Do I need one? Why should I get one? How should I get one?
See, you surely need one because he's your guide. Advisor does not decide for you, and he should never decide for you. End of the day, it is your money. That's the reason you should know as to where you're investing in. But he'll show you the path.
Okay.
And that's the reason you require a financial advisor, but a lot of people mistake that and let financial advisors completely manage their money without really understanding as to where they are investing and what they are doing. I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so that's the important bit to get, and how should one get a good financial plan, or where can I get one?
I mean, first of all, you know as to who are the better known firms. I think it's safe to go with better known firms. But at the same time, you also have individual financial advisors whom you can actually find through references. Your friends may be using them.
Word of mouth, kind
absolutely.
All right. Great. You're watching National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon, coming to you live from New Delhi. It's cold New Delhi, but there's a lot of excitement on ground there. We'll be right back. It's time for a short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon 2014. Today we're in New Delhi. We've got excited lot of runners. We've got about more than 2,500 people there. As you can see, well, they've pretty much finished their runs, but it's an excited, charged up lot. I'm joined in studio by two very special guests. We have Tamara Zweck, who's a director and sports physiotherapist at 206 Optimal Movement. And we have Ambareesh Baliga, who's the managing partner, Global Wealth Management at Edelweiss Financial Services. Tamara, earlier in the show, we spoke about the importance of stretches that we should do before a run. Well, because as you can see, pretty much they've almost all finished their runs here this morning. What are some stretches that they need to do after this run?
Yeah, the stretching that you do after the run is what we classically known as static stretching. So you can afford to spend a little bit more time as part of your cool down incorporating your static stretching. It's more of those movements and positions which have a long hold. You can breathe into it and you can restore a lot of good oxygen and a lot of good circulation back to those muscles and make them prepared for your next run. Okay? So it's not just about cooling down from that one, it's also starting to think about, yeah, you know what, I want to make sure that my body is best prepared for the next run.
So planning well in advance.
Yes.
Well, like I told you guys earlier, we caught up with Tamara earlier this week at her studio, and well, she showed us some stretches for before exercise, which we earlier saw. And here, take a look at some of the stretches that she advises to do after a run.
The first thing that you can do is a quadricep stretch. Pull your heel up towards your bottom and hold it there. Keep your knees level or together and stay there and take about 10 big breaths in and out. The next stretch that you can do is a lunge. Take 1 foot forward and 1 foot back as far as you can. You can either keep your hands on your knee or you can put your hands on the ground to keep your balance. And make sure that your front knee is pushing as far forward as you feel that it can, but on the other end you want your back heel to be stretching as far back as it possibly can, almost like you're going into the splits. Probably the most important stretch to do after you finish running is your calf stretch. Step 1 foot back behind the other, making sure that both feet are pointing straight forwards. Keep your back heel down and your back knee can stay straight. And then lean forwards and bend your front knee and you'll feel a nice stretch down the back of your calf.
Thank you very much for that, Tamara. Quite interesting. So now you've seen what are the important stretches that need to be done after and before a run. Ambareesh, let's talk a little bit about this other asset, or rather instrument to invest, which is bonds. So recently, in the last couple of weeks, couple of months, there have been a lot of bonds that are being released in the market.
Right.
What's your take on that? Is that a good investment option for that?
Tax-free bonds, yes. Because especially for those who are on the highest tax bracket, it's actually a pre-tax return of nearly 12% plus, because you're getting tax-free at 8.5 to 9. So for those taxpayers, it makes a lot of sense investing in these bonds. And they are again very long-term. You have starting from 10, 15, 20 years.
Right. And this something called the inflation indexed bonds also. What are those? And
inflation indexed bonds is yet to really take off in India. The one which is there currently gives you actually like a minimum of 1.5. On top of that, whatever the inflation is, they give you that sort of a return. But again, this actually beats the inflation by 1.5%.
Okay, all right. So that's a good thing. That then you said earlier, beating inflation, which is really the important bit there. Tamara, now when you're exercising and you're doing whatever you're doing, sometimes you feel that, okay, I've injured myself, but you're not sure. And, you know, very often people have this that, okay, maybe if I sleep over it, or maybe if I don't focus on it, maybe I don't give it attention, it'll fix itself automatically and I'll be all hunky-dory perfectly fine again. What's your advice in a situation like that?
Yeah, if you do feel like something's going slightly wrong, it's better to do something about it sooner rather than later. A lot of people think that they can run through it and, you know, you keep going and it'll get a little bit better or it'll just fade away. But it's a good idea to do something earlier. As a physiotherapist, it's much easier to treat injuries earlier on, and your healing time is much shorter than it is if it becomes a little bit chronic. So if it's something that's been happening over and over again for a couple of months, not only do we have to address the actual injury, but your body will start to move slightly differently and you'll have a lot of compensation strategies going on in your body that we also need to prepare. So you've got more amount of work to prepare from. It usually takes a longer amount of time to heal, and you know it's very discouraging for your routine. So it's always a good idea to hit the injury earlier rather than later. Even if you're feeling like you're a bit paranoid about it, you know, it's always good to get that box ticked off so that you can get back to your program straight away.
Okay, that's important advice there. So guys, if there is anything, unfortunately, if there is, just don't worry about it. Please go visit either a physiotherapist or a doctor. Just pay attention to it right now rather than later when it could get really bad. Ambareesh, you know, very often people talk about the macroeconomic indicators, and it's also about, as a retail investor, people think, will it affect me? So what's your take on things like, you know, we've had the vote of account recently, and all of that. How much does that affect a retail investor? Should we be paying attention to that?
Budget makes a lot of difference because that is the way ahead for the economy and the country overall. What we had this time was an interim one. It was not vote on account, because vote on account you don't have any changes in taxes. We had excise duty coming down, which was positive for the vehicle buyers, two-wheeler buyers. There was something off on interest for education loans. That was positive for the students who had taken those loans. But yes, I think we'll have a proper budget only once we have the new government in place, because that's when we'll know their policies, whether it's reformist, long-term policies will happen at that point of time. So that is important for the investors going ahead.
So the budget is definitely to be looked at. I'm sorry, not the budget, I mean the elections. The elections is definitely to be...
Absolutely. I think that will clearly direct which way the economy would move. Because if we have a strong government at the center, I suppose we'll see a huge bull run going ahead. But in case it's a third front sort of a government, completely fractured mandate, I think the next 2 to 3 years is a write-off.
Okay, all right. Tamara, you know, when let's assume whatever activity you're doing, whether it's running, gym, dance, generally footwear is a very important thing. And I have seen people not wearing correct footwear, or I mean, you can see sometimes they're not wearing the right shoes and not paying attention to that. But that is actually, I mean, because that's the most important resources. It's your foot that's hitting the ground. How do you talk to people about that, about investing in the right pair of shoes?
Absolutely. You know, footwear or the equipment that you use for whatever sport that you're playing, whether you're playing tennis and using rackets and cricket bats and things like that, you must have the most appropriate equipment for your body. And these days there are many sports shoes available on the market. People will talk about barefoot running, minimalist running, and all sorts of different varieties. If you're starting out, you know, just start out with a basic running shoe. Basic running shoe basically has a heel counter which is a little higher than the toe. The toe will help you push off, so it gives you that momentum to run. And any standard shoe these days is going to be good for you. You don't need to go for anything fancy or too expensive. You probably just should choose a colour that inspires you, because that will help you get your shoes on every day when you go for a run, and that's the main thing. If you do have any questions, or someone's actually told you you've got a pronated foot or a flat foot or something like that, then you can always consult your physiotherapist about that, and they can help you advise the most appropriate shoe. So when you go into the sports shop, you're a little bit more educated about what shoe that you should be choosing.
Okay, that's important. My shoes are neon, so it's bright. It keeps me bright and up and bright and charged in the morning when I go for my run. Ambareesh, there is one thing that I've been wanting to talk to you about is insurance. So it's the end of the financial year. We're coming to close of February, and this is when people start getting really excited. Okay, tax saving. I have to buy insurance, my insurance policy to get my tax saving deductions. How important is I'm talking now just for life insurance for the time being, how important is life insurance cover, and is this the right way to run about it in February and March?
No, I don't think one should utilize it as a tax saving tool, because life is full of uncertainties and you need to provide for the future of your family. So life insurance is basically for providing for the future of your family in case something happens to you.
Okay.
It should not be used as an investment tool, which unfortunately, that was the way it was sold in the past, missold in the past. But it has to be only life insurance as such, from the point of view of protecting your family.
Okay. There've been a lot of changes in the insurance thing from, I think, January 2014. So it's getting better for the investors, for the people.
It is it is becoming more transparent and surely much better, no doubt. Yeah.
So okay, that's good. That's good to hear. Yeah. You guys are watching the National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. We're coming to you live from New Delhi. As you can see, all our 3 runs have pretty much been completed. It's time for a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, good morning. Welcome to National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. We're coming to you live from New Delhi. It's a cold morning, but an excited lot of more than 2,500 people have gathered there this morning to run. We've got 3 runs which we have pretty much completed. As you can see, everyone's come back to the starting and finishing point. The 4-kilometer Nifty run, the 4-kilometer Power run, and the 2-kilometer Bull run. I'm joined in studio here in Mumbai with 2 very special guests. We have Tamara Zweck, who's a director and sports physiotherapist at 206 Optimal Movement. She's also a medical director with the IPL. And we have Ambareesh Baliga, who's the managing partner, Global Wealth Management with Edelweiss Financial Services. Tamara, I want to talk to you about, so you're a physiotherapist, and people, when they want to approach a physiotherapist, like a doctor, you already start getting worried, and oh my God, you immediately start thinking of the worst, that this is what he or she is going to say, which is, oh no, it's going to cause me a lot of inconvenience. So what's your advice to people who are maybe a little hesitant to come meet a physiotherapist? How should they prepare themselves to come meet you?
Yeah, when you're preparing yourselves to come and you think you've got that little bit of a problem, usually it's a pain related thing, you actually just want to start taking notice of when you're getting that pain. Okay. Sometimes the pain will come and go. Maybe it happens when you're standing or when you're walking or when you start running. Maybe the pain happens when you finish running. So the different types of patterns of pain also help us discover what is actually the cause of your injury, because sometimes you may come in with a knee problem, but actually it may have nothing to do with your knee at all. It actually may have something to do with your ankle or your hip that could be actually the main cause of your problem, and once we treat that, then that would take the pain away in your knee. So it's good to sort of notice, okay, do I get the pain more in the morning? Do I get the pain more in the evening? And that gives us a lot of information in which we can help to diagnose what the actual problem is.
All right, okay. Well, as you can see on ground, the prize distribution ceremony has started. Let's go on ground for a couple of minutes to check out what's happening there. These are not always competitive runs. Some of them are competitive. The Nifty run is a competitive run. The other runs are more for a fun run to create awareness, more importantly. But we always have a prize distribution ceremony so that, it's interesting, it's exciting, it's fun for everyone, and we have fun prizes. So the most shareholders, the team with the largest number of participants, the best dressed team, and things like that. So this is, you can see, excited more than 2,500 people gathered here, and on stage we have our dignitaries who are handing out these fun prizes during the prize distribution ceremony. This is coming to you live from New Delhi. It's all happening at the Tyagraj Stadium complex in INA Colony in New Delhi. We're coming to you live from our Mumbai studio. Ambareesh, I just wanted to talk to you about one of India's favorite asset classes, which is gold. I mean, everybody loves gold. The women love it. Your take on as an investment option, how important is it to be a part of our asset allocation?
We have been the largest buyers of gold for centuries, and it forms a part of a social commitment. Gold is required also for a social commitment, and it was a de facto sort of an investment in the past. But now you have an opportunity to actually invest in gold and earn out of it. Okay. And this has been available for the past couple of years now. And the way the gold prices also have moved in the past 7-8 years has in fact given an extremely good return. So from that point of view, I would say gold should be a part of your investment portfolio. Social commitment is separate. You require gold for that. But as a part of the investment portfolio, it has to be there. And in fact, our allocation is about 5 to 10% depending on the objectives.
And now gold is also available electronically.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's how should one go about that?
It's much easier to now own gold. You need not really hold gold in terms of biscuits or in terms of the jewelry. You can actually buy it electronically.
Okay, so and is it also trade? I can sell it electronically.
Absolutely,
then obviously on the exchanges.
Yes.
Okay, Tamra, we are just about out of time. So I just would like you to give me like a closing comment. What would you like to leave our viewers with? What's the thought that you would like to leave them?
Get out there and make a start. It's never too late. You're never too old to start doing absolutely everything. I know people who have run their first marathon when they've been 50 years of age.
Okay, right.
So just get out there and give it a go and start. Like they were saying down in Delhi just now, that you need to be healthy to then create your wealth. So your body is the most important thing that you need to protect first up.
Okay, but like you mentioned that even if you're 40 or 50, it's not too late. But so how do you, again, because it's your body is different when you're at say 50 as opposed to when you're 18, and how do you advise them so that again they ensure that they don't injure themselves at that age, because again it takes a longer time to recover at that age. How do you go about that?
It takes a little bit longer time to recover. It takes a little bit longer to sort of build up your skill set as well. We're always great at getting new skills on board when we're children, but when we're older, it takes a little bit longer to get that on board. But it just you just take that little extra amount of time, and it creates that discipline. Sometimes when we're older, we also have more discipline, so that's an easier habit to sort of relate to, and we can keep that going.
Just one thing, I know you said closing comments, but I just wanted to ask you one last thing about a lot of children today have, because earlier we were talking about healthy habits in childhood, and a lot of children today have this more of electronic entertainment. So we're on our PlayStation, we're on our computer games, we're watching television more than we are going out and running and playing. So your advice to parents out there?
You have to structure the time. You have to give them iPad time, you have to give them TV time, and then you have to give them time which is outdoors. It's a little bit harder in places like Mumbai as opposed to Delhi and Bangalore, where you've got a little bit more space to run around, but you have to create those opportunities for your children to be able to get outside and explore movement.
Alright, thank you for that. Ambareesh, your closing comments to our viewers.
It's the same like the opening comments which I gave. You need to have your objectives very clear. If you're running from point A to point B, you know where the point B is.
Yes.
So that's your objective. So it's similar in like investments and the regular training, which means regularly you have to review your portfolio to reach that point B.
Okay. Ambareesh, earlier we were talking, you was talking also about the importance of having a financial advisor.
Right.
So, while setting your goals, because goals keep changing, today I'm thinking 3 years later my goals might change. So the financial advisor will be also a good coach, you could say, to help you with your goal setting.
Sounding board, I would say, more than a coach, because yes, he surely advises you and like deciding what your objectives are, but it has to come from you, and you have to have a long-term goal as well as number of short-term goals. Yes,
that's important. All right, thank you so much, Ambareesh, for that. Thank you, Tamra, so much for being here this morning. Thank you for watching. You were watching National Stock Exchange and CNBC TV 18's Investothon. We were coming to you live from New Delhi. That's all that time that we have today, but you can log on to our website, which is www.investothon.net, for regular updates to find out where we are next. In fact, we are in Mumbai on the 2nd of March, so we hope to see you live in Mumbai running. Thank you so much and have a great day.